Good afternoon, everyone. This is Victor Ling from NewStars Migration ACT. Welcome to my live section again. Today, I would like to spend some time talk about the expecting invitation for ACT matches in the following months. We all know ACT receiving more allocation before Christmas. And then a lot of people have high expectation of high volumes of invitation since ACT receiving more allocation. So I did a big calculation based on the previous invitation till the December rounds. So overall, this is a figure. I will post these figures on my Facebook, the Facebook channel as well. So till December, ACT government issued 3,680 invitations. So that's all the invitations, including the offshore ones, onshore ones, small business string, and sponsorship visa string. So all the strings altogether, 3,680 invitation has been issued. But then at the meantime, ACT governments have published the nomination figure till the 22nd of December. Till 22nd of December, all over there are 1,266 nomination has been issued. So if we base on the invitation figure and a nomination figure, then the acceptance ratio is about 35%. Of course, this is not exactly right because till the 22nd of December, there are probably some cases wait to be finalized, but then it shouldn't be much differences. So based on the from July till December, the first half of year in ACT, the acceptance rate overall is about 35%. So have this in your mind, 35% is the ratio between invitation figure and the nomination allocation figure. So that brings to questions, how many invitations we expecting ACT government to issue from January to the end of June in order to reach the complete use of the allocation available. So till the 22nd of December, ACT government still have 2,084 places. So roughly about 2,700 to 2,700 places available. So that's 2,700 available. And then if you use the ratio and you do a simple math, so 2,700 and the ratio is 35%. So they have to issue about 7,700 places in the following 6 months. So that's 7,007. So you will see that come to a conclusion. In the first 6 months, ACT government issued 3,600 places, but in the following 6 months, they will have to issue roughly about 7,700 places if we assuming the acceptance rates remain pretty much same, maybe. But so you're expecting the invitation in the following months will be roughly about doubled, or at least probably 1.5 times higher than previously. So that's what we're expecting in the previous invitation round. So and my understanding is they will increase the invitation gradually and step by step in order to reach the invitation. In terms of each invitation round, even the December one, the last invitation, very recent invitation round, ACT government issued 563 places, which is the highest invitation round in the past 6 months. It's not as high as we expected because comparing to the November one, which is 441 places, December one is 563 places issued. We can see increase, some of the increase actually going to oversee the 491 string. They issued 231 invitation to offshore 491 string. So, but then in the following rounds, and we noticed they actually invitation round going on right now. So they're actually doing invitation today, this afternoon. So in the following invitation rounds, we're expecting there will be over 600 every invitation round. Probably even higher, because as I'm saying, they have over 7,000 places, 7,000 invitation roughly about should be available there. And if you're dividing by 6 months, then you have over 1,000 places, 1,000 invitations to be carried on. We understand ACT government sometimes doing fortnightly invitation. Then if that's the case, we're looking about 12 invitation round. And then if you're doing the 12 invitation round, each invitation round it's over 600 places. So we're gonna be seeing over 600 places issued in each invitation round in the following 6 months. So that would definitely ease the point situation now, because if you're comparing 600 places issued in every invitation round to what we see before, for example, 200 places, 300 places, or even 400 places, that's double, sometimes double, or sometimes 1.5 times higher. So, and the points were starting to gradually reduce because there are more places being issued to the invitation to be issued. So we just have to see how low can it go and how quickly can it go. As with the email received from ACT governments, they're expecting the 190 points we're probably going back to somewhere about 85 points or 80 points. For 491 occupations, they're expecting 60 to 65 points. That will probably be applicable to most of occupations, except some highly competitive occupations such as IT and accountant, of course. So that's something we're hopefully to see the points are starting to going down. Okay, so that's a bit about ACT invitation and expectations. We'll post those figures on our Facebook page so you have a better understanding the calculations we did and help you to understand this is all math based because it's about figures, it's about invitation numbers and acceptance numbers. So it's math. Of course, there are a lot of uncertain factors need to be taken into consideration. But then that's what we're expecting. So first about ACT. Second, I also get a lot of inquiries about other state invitations because, as we all understand, this year it's about state nomination and it's about several options of state nomination and 189 as well. For 189, as I mentioned in the previous videos before, I'm really not expecting any higher, very huge amounts of invitation in this financial year because there has been a few very huge, very large invitation happens. So the overall number has exceeded the much more exceeding the nomination places available in 189. So that's about 189. In terms of every state governments, I think most of the attention nowadays it's about Victoria and Victoria state nomination, New South Wales nomination, and Western Australian nomination as well. So the very recent invitation round, I'll just give you a bit of ideas how does the point look like. So the very recent invitation round for New South Wales, we're seeing cases, we're seeing people get invited for, take Accountant for example, we're seeing people getting invited, but then the figure is somewhere about, for Accountant is still 100 points. Okay, so you need to have 100 points in order to be considered invite in NSW because this is just how the invitation figures we've seen. And for the IT ones, for example, software engineer, IT professional, system analyst, we see about 85 points, 90 points, plus 5 points from the state nomination. We see cases has been invited. For engineers, well, civil engineer, quantity surveyors, we see about 85 points, plus 5 points for state nomination get invited. So that's for the very recent New South Wales invitation round. Again, in New South Wales, another fact we recently seeing is they issue those not so popular occupations, and some of the occupation enjoy 675 points invitation. I got a client who's a copywriter and she got 65 points. Well, overall 65 points, which means she only has 60 points and she still get 190 invitation. But then the copywriter occupation is not so common, so they issue a lot of not common occupations and the points are very low. But for accountant, engineers, and IT professionals, we're still seeing about 85 points plus, 90 points plus. For accountants, still 100 points plus. So that's for NSW 190. In the meantime, the very recent Victoria invitation run happens roughly about Christmas time. For accountant, we see accountant applicants getting invited about 90 points, plus 5 points from the Victoria government. But most of the applicants receiving invitation, we notice they have Victorians working experience. So some of them have 1 year, some of them have 4 years working experience in accounting fields. So that's the reason they get invited. So we mentioned this before, in Victoria state nomination, they not just look at the points, they look at the working experience as well. It's kind of a comprehensive considerations the state government is taking, but then it's not so clear how many years working experience plus how many points will be advantage in terms of getting invitation. But we see people definitely have invitation, have working experience, have a much higher chance to get invited under the Victoria system so far. That's for accounting major. For IT majors, we see again 95 points plus 5, 90 points plus 5 points, and again most of people have working experience. For engineering as well, most people have working experience. And Victorian also have a bit of offshore invitation as well. For example, for accounting major, we got a client who have 85 points and plus 5 points for the Victorian government, but then these applicants have 5 years more than 5 year working experience, and he get the invitation as accountant. And there are occupations such as marketing specialist, we get 85 points plus 5 points, financial investment advisor 70 points plus 5 points, and these are some of the occupations we see for offshore invitation. So overall, again, we've seen similarities between NSW and Victoria in terms of the popular 3 groups: IT, engineers, and accountants. The points still remain pretty high, as we understanding there are much more competition down there during these 3 major groups. So there's a bit of chance as well. If your points is quite close to the invitation points, you definitely can take that into consideration. Another popular state nomination option this year is WA, and comparing to Victorian and NSW, we can see the differences. The differences appears in EOI points. The invitation points is a bit lower than what we see in the 2 major states. So take last invitation, again December invitation in WA accountants. We see clients getting 75 points invited, and 75 points if you're applying for 491, that means you only have 60 points. We see clients getting invited with 75 points. For engineering as well, for example, electrical engineering, electronic engineering, civil engineering, it's 75 points or 80 points. So that means clients have 75 points or 65 points plus they will get invited under 491 stream. For 190 stream, of course, you need to have higher points, but then again, it's about 70 points to 75 points. The differences we mentioned before, for 190 nomination, you need to secure a job in WA. For IT professional, it is most of IT professional, software engineering, developers, ICT specialists, is 75 points as well. So we see a bit of point drop, quite a quick point drop in WA. I think the last invitation run in November is about 85 points, but now we're seeing 75 points. The reason I mentioned this in the previous videos before, because the competition in WA is nowhere close to what we're going to see in Victoria or New South Wales. And if you're comparing the nomination places available in WA, there is still good space for invitation. They have over 5,000. Bear in mind that they have over 5,000 places for 190 nomination available. So they will keep on issue huge amounts of invitation, and the points were starting to drop. So there's definitely opportunities down there in WA if your EOI points it's not so high. So I will try to mention this for the potential people considering. It's if your EOI points it's not very competitive. So if you only have 70 points of your EOI, 75 points in your EOI, I do not, and your majors it's one of the very common ones. I really do not think you have a very good chance in Victoria or WA. In Victoria, New South Wales, but then there might be a chance in WA. And so that's something you want to think about it. If you're willing to relocate it to a different state, I would strongly suggest WA as one of the very good options this financial year. In the meantime, you can always submit application to 189, hoping that will be another surprising big invitation run happening. Take ACT for example. If you are still living in ACT and your points will be increased, or you have certain kind of space to grow your metric points in the following months, then I would suggest you stay in ACT, because we think the metric point was starting to drop quickly, as with the calculations suggest there will be much more places available, invitation available in the following 6 months. Okay, so there's a bit of shares after the new year, and hope in 2023 all of you are going to have a good luck in terms of getting some sort of invitation or nomination somewhere. Okay, thank you for following the channel, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you.